It's Wednesday. It's 3 o'clock. Time for another mystery model on Monster Hobbies. What's in the box? What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in this box?
What's in the box?
Hello everybody and welcome back to another one of Monster Hobbies mystery model videos. And tonight I brought another one of these bagged model kits that you're gonna have to watch this video to try to figure out. And if you like all these kind of great videos, please remember to like, subscribe, and share our video with all your friends and family and everybody else. And now, model builders, let's go down to our table and see what the mystery model of the week is. Alright, here we go. Our first component is the sprue with the engine parts. And remember, in this Monster Hobbies unboxing here, if you know what the answer is, remember not to tell anybody in the comments below, but to actually post the time that you discovered it, because we don't want anybody else to learn the secret too quickly, do we? So here we have our engine parts. I think that little bit of whatever is going to fall off here. This does look like the differential. Center cover. We're into winter, so the furnace is going to come on. So there's that engine block. Got some interesting detail. A little bit soft in the transmission detail. This is automatic transmission. And the exhaust pipes here. Okay, let's go on to the next part.
What's in the box? What could it be?
And there's our next part tree. And as you can see, we've got a frame here with a differential sticking off it. Some very nice crisp detail going on. Side braces. And that valley. And then we have this interesting component. Very strange. And there's our tie rod and the differential. Notice the differential has this extra little, like a shock absorber thing on it. So that might be a clue for you. Actually, that doesn't look like a differential at all. That looks like the front steering. Okay, now let's examine our next piece. Next up, we have the engine block. But wait, is this the one you saw before? Or is this something different? It is something different. Now we're getting into a weird dimension here. This is the water pumps, and there's two. So that means this is a dual engine car, and it's got two pulleys, which have decent detail in them. Of course, you can see the bolts for mounting the pulleys to the fan belt. There's another one of these. It fell off. A lot of parts kind of fell off when I opened this up. Do you think you know what this is? If so, remember, put your time in the comments below when you discovered it, but don't let anyone know what it really is. Next piece.
What's in the box? What could it be?
Now that you know that this kit is a dual engine, let's take a look at the chrome, because I didn't want to give that away right off the bat. And look at those nice wheels. These look like the American or Krager style. They're very cool. Not quite sure, because there's a lot of mag wheel manufacturers back in the day that made the same kind of wheel. I have appliance wheels on my old Oldsmobile. There you go. Oh, and here's a little indication of what it could be. You'll note on the valve covers here the word Pontiac stamped in. So now we know that those engines are ponchos. Maybe I could put this on the Pontiac form. There's the shroud for the belts for the engine. Or those are chains, actually. So that's a different thing there altogether. And we got dual air cleaners, the steering wheel, it's a cool lantern, there's a propeller, little things. There's some old style lanterns. And then we've got our oil pans that are connected. And many other cool features. Radius rods, velocity stacks. So let's go on and get back to our gray pieces and continue unraveling this great mystery. Now I will show you the tires. So here we have our good old Goodyear Rally GT style tires. And we'll start with the rear tires, and you can see some very nice treads there. Great sidewall. Goodyear Rally GTs. So you get two of them, of course. And then our front tires are the smaller version of the Goodyear Rally GTs. Again with that remarkable tread on there. And there we go. So you get the little ones and the big ones. And the big ones are quite a bit thicker than the little ones. There, as you can tell. And a very nice detail, classic old AMT tires. And luckily, AMT made it so that we don't have to cut out the web for you guys that remember the earlier versions of this kit with the web tire in the middle. Alright, let's go on to our next pieces.
What's in the box? What could it be?
Now we get a little closer to the telltale of this model as we bring out the next series of pieces. This is the interior floor pan. For those that may be thinking this is quite familiar, remember, if you got it figured out now, put your time when you figured it out in the comments below. There are a lot of sink marks and injection pin marks in the bottom of this thing. So you'll either have to fill them or grind them down with a number 16 X-Acto knife blade. And then of course we have these components, which look quite interesting. If you actually look at this, it says XDC right on them. So what could these pieces be? That nice mesh grill on there too. It's pretty interesting. And of course some side panels. So to further explain this mystery, oh, there's another giveaway. Ertl. So, to further on with our mystery, let's move this out of the way and view our next pieces. And here comes our next parts tree. This is the interior of the vehicle. As you can tell, it is quite a bizarre interior. And you look at these things, and they are some kind of electronical device or something with all those buttons on it. And then we have a seat here with one of those things in the middle of it. And then, of course, another seat there. Very interesting. Do you think you know what it is? Well, let us know the time you figured it out below. And let's move on to our next pieces. Now we have our suspension components, and you can see these are some pretty heavy-duty springs. Half leafs with shock absorbers on the end, and these little bits here, and then we've got some more of those weird instruments. Now, what could this thing be? One may ask. And then here we have another seat, and some struts and things. Possibly a rear bumper. Well, the next piece should give away a little more of the mystery, so let's move on to that.
It was the eye that kept winking and blinking.
And here we go again. Now check these wheels out. These huge mama tires should give you a good indication as to what's going on at this point. And there is a Pontiac front grille in there from a 60s 68 Pontiac 69 GTO. Makes me wonder if this would actually fit some of the other GTO model kits out there, because this is actually quite a good molding of that front bumper. And of course we have our wheel backs with the little web in the middle. Just got to punch them out. But look at those big pie crust type wheels. And they even have a tread on the end here. There you go. So the final piece, this is not, but the next piece coming up is the final piece, and that should solve the mystery right there. So let's move this out of the way. And here is the final piece. And now for you model builders that really know this thing, you should be clicking I know this right now in the comments below. And this is like a stagecoach. Nice crisp detail on the outside, but when you spin it around to the inside, you can see all those injector pin marks again, which will need to be fixed with either filling the low ones with putty and then working your way to smoothing it out, or scraping down from the top with your number 16 X-Acto blade. Now let's go look at the instructions.
What's in the box? What could it be?
Here's the instruction sheet, part of it. And we begin with these two great Pontiac engines, as we discovered on the parts tree. And of course, the nice thing with these instructions is it tells you what all the parts are. So there's the inner exhaust manifold, and it says to paint those flat white. And the intake manifold, which you paint red, Pontiac red, I believe. And as starters, I always thought Pontiac motors were metallic blue, but I guess this one is red. This is a specialty vehicle. And then we see our tire assembly going together with the little tires there, and then the larger ones. And then of course these big ones at the very back. Then we have our tractor assembly, which has those two gears. So these would go to the engines and hook it all in. And there goes your dual chrome oil pans. Everything I learned about automobiles started with these cars. So these are good for STEM projects if you've got young ones doing that type of program at school. I forget what STEM stands for, I gotta look it up. But anyway, there's the Pontiac grille, and then that's the hood, that funny piece I showed you before. And then it's got these hood lanterns in it. And of course everything goes together nicely. There's grill inserts as well, chrome ones. And then we get into the air cleaners and the water what do they call this? Expansion tank. And then those little things are fans, cooling fans, go on top of the engine. And then we have these, and they are speaker boxes. And now we will just simply turn our instructions over here, and you can see the body, that coach going together. And then there's the suspension components that go on the coach. And this thing is the rear axle that I thought was a bumper. It's actually the rear axle. So there you go. And then there's a pivot assembly, because those Pontiac engines are out there like horses, if that doesn't give you a clue. And this is a stagecoach, if that doesn't give you another clue. And there's all the pieces going together, the foot pedals, the light bars, the spotlights, the handbrake. And then we get down here, and this is the back of the... Oh no, that's the front of the coach, with the seat and everything going in there for the driver. Pardon me. And then we show the coach being mounted up to the tractor assembly. Custom decals are included in the kit, and we will look at those in a minute. And there's the big unveil. The George Barris, a Raiders coach. The Raiders were a rock band, sort of a short-lived rock band back in the late 60s that were kind of a glam band. They were supposed to be Paul Revere and the Raiders, right? From American history that turned rockers. And there you go. So let's look at the decals for this, and then we will close off the video. Here we are with the decal sheet. which looks really good. Has a lot of that American rah-rah-rah to it. The red, white, and blue lettering, and the musical notes, and some nice pinstripes. And it's quite a nice printed decal, very similar to the real car. And they are the water slide type decals, so you get the paper wet and you slide them off onto the model, and then you use some Solvaset to lock it on in place, or clear coat over top. And now we take our final look at the box and totally reveal that it is the George Barris Raiders coach from back in the good old days of the 60s. And if you want to know what the Raiders are like as a band, just Google it, put it in YouTube. There's a ton of videos of their music out there. And as you can see, there's the pinstripes and where they go on the box, on the model on the box. And it has a good write-up over here. This is a Skill 2 kit, so 10 up. Requires glue, requires paint. It's a very good, challenging kit. And of course, the George Barris crest. I actually met George Barris. He signed a model kit for me. Gave me a picture and actually asked me to come down and work for him. But it didn't quite pan out as I was trying to get my hobby shop going. This is a wild stage coach drawn by two GTO 428 engines, coach lamps, and 18th century decor lamps, continental organ, amplifiers and speakers, Krager wheels, and colorful decals. Decals, water slide transfers. But there it is, the nice Raiders coach in all its Raider rockin' glory. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Monster Hobbies Mystery Unboxing, where we got to take a look at the George Barris Raiders coach. And this is another one of those great old classic kits of the day, and I hope you can actually find some of these out there, or that Round 2 reissues it so I can stock it on my shelves once more, the glory days of model building. And say, if you like checking things out and supporting people, why don't you check out my Patreon account? There's some great benefits for members. And until next time, I hope you enjoy these videos and have a great time building your great, awesome kits. We look forward to seeing you in future videos.